Hey everyone, good morning. Welcome to a lovely Friday morning. My name is Adrian and I'm the CEO and founder of Career Agility International. And together with me, as always, is Yen. Morning, Yen. How are you?
I am very happy it's a Friday, but I
It's
think
a
you hear this
Friday.
all the time. So every Friday
Oh.
morning, I'm just happier. If this was a Monday, I think you'd see a different Yen. You'd be like, oh, okay, great. We have a
uh,
long week ahead of us. No, but the
no, and
long week is over. So, yes, all good.
and the funny thing is sometimes Mondays are welcome for me because of all the Saturday and Sunday running about the family and the kids and everything. So Monday is actually, oh, welcome. I'm happy to be back at work.
That's
That's so
funny too.
ironic. That's ironic, right? Like just like the article you're writing now on Channel News
Yeah.
Asia about work from home, right? It's about
Yeah, I'm writing an article,
balance.
and it's funny how we go to the office to get away from home, and then we go home to get away from the office.
Life is just one
But I
big
think that's
escaping
funny.
circle.
Right.
So
Let's run away from our problems.
sorry, it's enough of problems at work. Let's go run home. So it's exciting topic that we have today. Today we're going to talk
Yeah.
about how do you ask for a higher salary at the job interview phase of your job search.
Yes. I think that's very pertinent because there are a lot of people who are uncomfortable discussing money. So I've seen a lot of candidates, right? They are confident and they're articulate, and then
True.
when I get to the so what are your salary expectations? Then there's this face. They have this expression, and you
Yeah.
can tell they're trying to figure out how to say it
Yeah,
without
in their
saying
mind,
it.
they're calculating. Yeah, I know. And the worst
and
thing is being Asian.
they look so uncomfortable
Yeah.
that it might be perceived badly. So that's why I
Yeah,
think this is a really good topic.
and I think it's especially so very true for Asians because Asians know when it comes to money and everything, we are a bit more bashful. I think
Really,
so.
we
Yeah, I
are
think so
more.
sometimes. A
I
bit
think we're
more.
all. Yeah, it's all about the money, isn't it?
It's all about the money. So
Show
today,
me the money.
yeah, show me the money. So we're gonna talk about how to ask for a higher salary. You know, we had a similar episode some time back. It's about that was about what to do if you're feeling underpaid. That's if you're already in a job and you're not feeling the love, you're feeling that you're not getting paid enough money. That's what we should be looking at. But today we are going to talk about the job interview phase, and which is an
Yes.
absolutely different dynamics because it's a negotiation and you can walk away from it hopefully. So we're going to talk about it. But before we begin, let's talk about the news headlines of the week. Have you seen this, Ian? Taylor
Yes, I
Swift
saw
gives
this,
millions of dollars in
and
bonuses to those working for her.
I'm just wishing that I was a truck driver
The truck driver's
because
got a
I
hundred
think
grand.
100 or more, I think,
Yeah,
and I
yeah.
think there were quite a few of them. But it's really, really good gesture. I think because all the reports of saying how much she actually makes per show, the
Mm-hmm.
fact that she's sharing the wealth with her team is
Yeah,
really, really good, good optics,
yeah.
good gesture on her part.
Yeah, in fact, I saw that article too, and apparently her world tour will generate just for herself, not even a company, for herself alone,
Yeah,
close to $500 million for herself,
I,
which means the company
I,
will probably rake in a lot more.
I think she makes
Uh,
more than some countries' GDPs
I think so. You know,
by herself.
$500 million now. Okay. So,
It's
but
crazy.
it's a she's a tour de force. I mean, it's like she's
She is.
amazing, and
Yeah.
PR like this, especially whether or not we want to be cynical about it and go like PR, but tax write off, but it's still her money that she's giving away. She could easily
Yes.
hoard it.
Yes. Yes. But the fact that she's sharing it with her team, kudos to her. I'm sure
Yeah,
it's
I
highly
know.
appreciated. Yeah.
And you're
Just
right.
it
No,
just builds a
I
lot
want to
of
be a
good karma.
I want to be a truck driver as well. 100 grand.
Just like that, right?
And
Yeah.
sometimes it's not the money. Sometimes it's just the gesture of it, right? To show that I
Yes.
understand the pain you're going through. This I hope this
Yes.
helps a little bit for a down payment of your house.
Yes.
Thanks a lot for your time. So
Yeah, it's a big the big R word, recognition, and
yeah,
I think a lot of the leaders that we have, maybe they don't show enough recognition to their people. It doesn't have to be a large bonus, but a gesture, a thought to know that you know my name, you know how many kids I have. I think that
yeah,
also goes a long way.
it
But
does.
I think this digresses a little bit from our topic because we're still here about the money.
It's all about the money. So I do agree with you. And That's why when it comes to salary negotiations, especially at the job interview stage, which I believe many of our listeners today are facing that either right now or around the corner, you might want to pay attention because we're going to reveal to you 5 ways that you can increase or at least enhance your bargaining power and ask for more money on the job. So let's jump into the meat of it. Let's look at it. Now, number one, I think one of the first important things that we need to realize is before going into salary negotiation is you need to know what's your price tag.
Yeah. So the biggest blockage or obstacle, if anything, is yourself. And if you've done enough research and you are well prepared, then when you do enter into conversation/interview at any stage, at the early stages, the middle stages, the advanced stages of any interview conversation, you would know your worth, you would know your value, you would know what the market rates are, and you'd be able to price yourself at least within the brackets of the role that you are after. And I think that's really important. So you've got to do the homework.
But one question, Yen, which a lot of people ask, should I benchmark my salary that I'm asking for based on A, what the market is paying and how do I know that? But B, more importantly, what my previous salary was. So if I think I'm overpaid, paid way too much, should I give myself a discount? Or if I think I'm underpaid,
Holy
should I ask
cow.
myself for more? Well, what are your thoughts? I mean, should I benchmark what my current salary is?
I'm a bit curious to know how many people you've met who think they are overpaid.
I actually met someone. I met someone
recently.
who felt that he was being paid way too much, simply because it was his perception. But then again, he was in a global role, but he wanted a smaller role. So
It's funny, isn't it? I don't know. Okay, so a quick one. If you think you're overpaid, please increase your value to the organization. Figure out ways to give back a little bit more, contribute a little bit more within the job scope, and then by all means, please donate to charity. But let's come back to the question. So your question was, how do you benchmark your value or your expectations on compensation? Do you benchmark that against what the market is paying, or do you benchmark that against what your last drawn was? So there are two schools of thought here, and I think both play a part. And well, right here in Singapore, I think a large number of organizations still look at what was your last drawn compensation.
They do, don't they?
To decide and to gauge whether or not they have more budget to pull you over. Because why would I, take the risk of joining a new company and taking on a new role for less money? That wouldn't make sense. And so the thought process is still there. I think it's an antiquated idea, but it is what it is.
But it is a market practice, unfortunately.
It is a practice. And I think while we are looking at what the market rate is, that number is a little bit harder to figure out. So a lot of our clients, right, my advice is to look at what were the last drawn transactions going back perhaps last 3 months. And you can just plot the curve, take some data points and plug it into a curve. And figure out where that sort of sweet spot is. And then you can decide whether or not this is a role that's worth your time. But before we even go into that, because the question you're asking me is very, very linear, I think that there's more than just money when deciding upon a role and when deciding whether or not to take the offer.
And the compensation is what would the other variables be?
There are so many. The compensation consists of both monetary and non-monetary factors. And there are many, many other things, the benefits, the type of boss, the opportunities for enhancements
the workload as
and
well,
growth.
I guess. The workload, whether it's too much.
We can't predict the workload, by the way. We all know that when we land the job, expectations will change. And once we land, they're going to go, hang on, this was not what I interviewed for. And that's going to happen as well. So there are many, many variables. I guess a quick tip would be to consider the broad brushstrokes, right? So there's the cash, there's the type of boss, there's the job scope, but there's also the non-monetary considerations, whether or not there's advancement, whether it's strategic. And so I say, come talk to us if you need help in, peeling back the layers and analyzing each opportunity for its own value.
Yeah, I actually have a story to share. So I was talking to this person, and he was in the PR side of things, okay, in a PR firm, and he wanted to go in. He was interviewing for an in-house role. And his salary, he was not that senior, so it's kind of young, early 30s. His current salary was about $6,000. Okay, say $6,000. And he said, I want to be paid more. I asked him, how much more do you want to be paid? She asked me, how much should I ask for more? How much more should I ask for? And I said, why don't you ask for 9K, you know? And he said, what? Why? They will never give me a 9K when my current is 6. And I said, look at the value you bring. And that's why it's not about knowing your worth, knowing your value. If they were to engage a PR firm with a full-time dedicated person on board, it's gonna cost them $12,000 a month in PR fees. You are gonna go in-house. You're literally gonna save the company $3,000 if you ask for 9K. It's still a good proposition for them. And she went in and she asked.
Was it a he or a she, Adrian?
Okay, I keep alternating. Sorry, I'm politically correct, so it's a he-she situation. So they went in and they asked for 9K and they got 9K.
Yes. Mm.
So sometimes
Exactly.
it's not a matter of your previous salary, right? Like exactly what you were saying. Sometimes it's just the amount of value you can bring, and know your value, you can ask your price.
Yes, and of course we have to contextualize matters. We have to figure out whether or not you're on the upper end of the market or you're on the lower end of the market, and whether or not your expectations are realistic. Both ways. So, there are those who are kind of delusional and thinking that they're worth a lot more. And then there are those who think they're worth a lot less, which is curiously interesting.
Yeah, so you're right. So if you want to know what it is, what you should be asking for, come set up a career clinic appointment with us. We have a 1 hour session where you can just so one-time consult. Happy to just clarify that and get it out of the way. And the amount of clarity you will get from such a session is really useful. So just reach out to us, drop us an email, info@careeragility.org, and we're happy to have that conversation with you. So know your worth, know your value. And I think the second thing, this is what we get a lot. Whenever we go for interviews, they ask, what is your expected salary?
Why the tone, Adrian? Interviewers don't talk like that.
Stupid question. Okay, I'll tell you what's funny.
Okay.
When I was hang on, let me tell you a funny story. So when I first graduated, when I first finished my A levels and I was taking a temp job, and I was filling up this form at this temp agency, and we had to fill up this form, and this guy next to me was filling up his form, and I peeked over his shoulder, and he's under salary expected. He put as soon as possible. Salary as soon as possible. It's like place of birth, bit.
Hang on. The question was, okay, so he was filling out a form, salary expected. But the question here is what is, not when is. So anyway,
what is your
that's
expected salary?
So
it's just something to wake us up all on a Friday morning. But what is your expected salary? How do you answer that question? Yeah.
So when you I'm just referring to the tone that you put on when you try this question.
I'm being scratchy here.
The thing about the question is that stupid questions or seemingly stupid questions lead to the larger issue at hand, and they can't be offering you they have to ask. So they have to know.
And remember, listeners, there's no such thing as stupid questions. Only stupid people asking them. Okay, sorry, Yen, back to you.
So my take is this, and I've been coaching this a long time. The biggest thing is to be comfortable in talking numbers. And if you know that you're going to be awkward, you're going to be uncomfortable talking about numbers, and it's natural, and that's where I come in and I provide you with some vocabulary, I provide you with some ideas. The most important thing in answering this question is to be matter of fact and to be normal about it, to be casual and confident. So the quick and dirty answer to achieve a bit of confidence in answering this question is to relate back to market rate or to describe your expectations in annual figures. And to leave it there, especially in the early stages of the interview, to leave it there because there are so many other considerations as we progress these conversations to the final stages, right? So depending on where you are. Yeah.
And speaking of which, Yen, so what if it's initial headhunter call and just asking you for They haven't even told you which company and everything. And they're asking what's your salary, what's your current and expected salary. Do you
So you
answer?
benchmark. I would benchmark against market rates and give an annual number
Mm.
with elbow room, both left and right. So you have a little bit of
So throw a
a
ballpark figure
buffer.
over.
So yeah,
Figure
ballpark
over.
figure, because it's too
Yeah, that's
early,
nice.
right? I mean, a nice word to use is premature. I mean, it's a little bit premature
Yeah.
because we haven't even discussed the role, the scope,
Yeah.
the expectations. Is it global? Is it Asia Pac? Does it cover Outer Mongolia? If it does, I'm gonna ask for hardship allowance.
Yeah.
It depends on what markets I'm also going to be covering. I mean, if it's a smaller role, then, and also what's the turnover? What's the profit?
Yeah. There's
What's the
many.
profitability of the company,
Yeah.
right? I mean, it might be a mismatch for all you know. So
No, for me,
yeah,
for me, I have this belief that quid pro quo, Clarice. Okay, sorry, that's a very poor Hannibal Lecter impression, but I believe in quid pro quo, which is you must give me something for something. If you want me to tell you my current salary, that's very confidential. You have to tell me the name of the company that you're interviewing for, that you're looking at, and everything. Give me more details on the role before, because I'm not going to give up all in sundry my salary. If you just call me up and say I'm a recruiter, I got a
right.
job in a multinational company in the fast-moving consumer goods space with a global footprint. You just name like almost every company in the Fortune 500. And then you want me to give you
Hang on.
my personal
Yeah.
salary?
Wait,
Would you?
the question that we're answering was, what is your expected salary? Not what
Yeah.
is your last drawn or what is your current. So we're not answering that
Yeah.
question. So to our listeners out there, I think you have every right not to answer what is your current salary. You don't have to answer it, not at the early stages anyway.
Yeah.
But you might get asked that question. So
You might guess
let's come
question. Whether
back.
you want to
Let's come
answer it.
back.
Yeah.
Right. So the
Okay.
question here, if the question is, can I know your current salary, or can I know your last drawn salary? Your answer can be, my expectations are, and that's okay.
Yeah. That's
So
okay,
that's
right?
my go-to answer, to just say, hang on, for my next role, I am looking for a role that pays X
X, Y,
dollars.
Z. Yeah.
And that's fine. So to our listeners out there, you don't have to reveal your confidential information.
Yeah.
Just
And
just 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 provide some vague market rate benchmark to expectations, not reality, and that's okay.
and I really hate to say this, but talking about current salaries, a really good headhunter will be able to guess your salary range already.
Exactly.
Okay,
Exactly.
so looking at job title, the type of company you're with, the tenure and everything, the skill and scope, I look at you like that's a game I like to play with our clients now. When we talk to them for the first time, I like to guess their age and their salary. And I'm usually, given the experience that we both have, you know what I mean, right? We can roughly gauge what the salary is, what the salary structure is as well. So, and therefore, we're also, in a way, able to gauge whether you're underpaid or overpaid sometimes, whether you're very, very lucky to be overpaid. But once again, everything is very subjective. And
And
if
to
you
be
really,
fair,
yeah.
everything's on the internet anyway. It
But
doesn't
those
differ
numbers
too
are
much
like,
from. It's not, it's getting more and more accurate, I think. And again, what do you do when you collect market rate information? You collect data points from a variety of
yeah,
sources.
yeah, yeah.
So a quick tip, you can talk to a few recruiters, you can talk to, even in the interview, you can ask, what is your budget?
Mm-hmm.
You can also go to Glassdoor and a variety of other
Yeah.
sources, and then you can extrapolate from there.
Yeah. And I think sometimes it's okay for you to give an indicative expected salary, because sometimes, if the role is
Yes,
too small for you, then what the heck are you wasting your time for, right? So say, oh, my expected salary is
exactly.
about 350K total. And you're right, Ian, if you give a total number, I think that will give them an idea as well. But then again, if you have an expatriate package with everything added in and everything, your total might scare them off right off the bat. So my suggestion
Yeah.
is, that's a very sensitive situation. Come talk to us. We can give you a framework. In fact, right now, we are working. Shall we tell them about our secret project? But then again, it's not secret if we tell them, right? But anyway, here it is. Because I can't keep secret. We are working. We
Okay,
are
if
working
you're
on.
listening, on the other platforms, please note that I am now rolling my eyes.
Oh, we are coming up with a tool for you to calculate your salaries and to be able to answer this question exactly. What's your current salary structure like? So it is complicated,
Yeah.
but we are working on it. We are working on refining it. It should be up hopefully soon, and you can use it to calculate and explain what exactly your salary structure is like.
Yeah. So on this note, Adrian, I want to just add the one more, I guess, complication to this question.
Okay.
When the question is first asked, what is your expected salary? I think the answer is a given because you've probably practiced it, right? To
Yeah.
the candidates out
Okay.
there.
Yes. Yeah.
It is the next question that annoys a lot of people.
Which
And
is
that is when a recruiter goes, what is your minimum expectation? And that annoys a lot of people. And so stick to the one
that
number
that
and
sounds
say,
like
well, that's the
what's your
ballpark
that's
figure.
like horse trading, right? It's like, what's your lowest price? I
It
think
is
it just
what
cannot. But he's
it
he's
is the
trying
human
to.
nature. They're trying to figure out whether or not you have room for
Yeah.
negotiation. And of course, the biggest rule here that you and I will agree on is never negotiate with yourself. And if it's in the early stages of a conversation, please just
Mm-hmm.
stick to one number, have it be an annual number, ballpark figure. And then if you're asked, what is the minimum? You go like, hey, come on, let's just go and have a conversation with some of the hiring leaders first. And then we can take it
Mm-hmm.
from there because there are many ways to skin a cat. So
Mm-hmm.
another quick answer to this question is it really isn't about just the cash component or the salary itself. It is about the total compensation.
Yeah.
So that's a quick giveaway. So figure out how to insert that into your answer, and
Mm-hmm.
hopefully they'll move on to more productive topics.
Yeah. So and if your remuneration structure is very complicated, stock options, share options,
Yeah.
everything else. Once again, come talk to us. We'll give you
Yep.
the structure to just explain to them so that the headhunter will understand exactly. So you don't have to fumble around and look very amateurish. So come
Yep.
talk to us. So what's the expected salary? As much as you can afford, give it to me.
And as soon as possible.
And as soon as
Absolutely.
possible. As much as I want it all
What
and I
you
want it now.
okay, okay, I'm gonna tell a story.
Yeah.
When this is a no-no, but there was a long time ago I was doing a mock interview with a particularly high flyer type individual who
Mm-hmm.
was in between roles. But this person is
Mm-hmm.
no doubt a high flyer. He was quite belligerent. So my
Oh
question was,
wow.
can you share with me your expectations on salary moving forward?
And
His response was, what's your budget? With a tone,
oh
with a face and a tone and an expression. His
oh
expression
oh
was adversarial. It was like,
he was defensive.
so whatever you do, do not answer a question with a question. Be diplomatic. And that
Why?
would be my advice.
Okay.
Okay. So when people are saying, oh, can I ask a question? I can always ask a question in return. Answer is yes. But please watch the tone. So
Tone of voice.
what is
Yeah.
your expected salary? What's your budget? Would not be a nice response.
Yeah. And I guess you're right. It's okay to ask if it's a nice. Could I find out? What is the budget for this role? I think if you ask nicely and humbly, I think it's okay. It's like what kind of attitude? So,
Yeah.
and I have this policy, from my years of headhunting. If the person I'm talking to for the first time is very defensive over salary numbers
Yes.
and salary from the start, this person has always, more often than not, proven to be
Been
very
difficult.
difficult in negotiation down the road. So if they are problematic with money at the upfront, it's going to be problematic with money all the way down. So typically,
It's going to
for
be
me and
problematic,
many,
full stop.
yeah. So typically,
I think just
chip on the
adversarial,
shoulder.
full stop. Yeah.
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 So
Yeah.
so typically, as headhunters, what we do is we avoid those who are adversarial, problematic, chip on the shoulder. I don't show you my card. What should I tell you? What should I tell you from the
It's not
from the
just
beginning?
it's not just the headhunters. I think the belligerence or the resistance is also
Yeah.
a red flag for most hiring
Yeah.
leaders.
Yeah.
It means that it's going to be difficult for you to pull with the team,
Yeah.
and it's
It's a red
yeah
flag.
it's
You're
a
right.
it's a
red
it's
flag.
a
Right off the
it's
bat.
a
Right
it's a
off the bat, it's a red
minefield.
flag already. Yeah.
Yeah.
Whoops. Okay. And this other one, it's very common.
Yep.
Sorry, I think you're too senior for the role.
Yeah, it really means there are two things. It's I think code for too expensive or too old.
Or both. Because sometimes the older you get, the more expensive you get. But you're right, it is code. It is code. They're being very politically correct by telling you that, hey, you're too senior for this role. And the question is, I always ask is, then what is your budget for this role? Because yeah, I can be senior, but this role may be smaller than. I don't mind downshifting, and we can have the discussion. But the other problem also is maybe you are too senior for the role. That this
Yeah.
is a role that's not for you after all. So sometimes it's not code. Sometimes you are too senior for this role.
I
You don't need
don't
a high power
I
a big gun like you. What do you think?
I personally feel that if you have um, made some progress in the interview stages before, and with your networking and with the sponsors that you have in the marketplace, uh, with such a feedback, when people say you're too senior,
Mm-hmm.
sometimes you just need to dig a little bit deeper to figure out the compensation structure, because maybe they are cash strapped, maybe there's something else going on. And so
Mm-hmm.
yes, this is code for perhaps for you to share a little bit more about
Mm.
your expectations, and maybe you can be compensated in other ways,
Yeah.
especially if the role appears to be, a little bit less sizable. Especially so, for example, if you come from a large bureaucracy, a large organization, it's a global MNC, and you're considering joining a startup,
Mm-hmm.
and so far the startup only has presence in, say, 5 countries, then
Mm-hmm.
obviously, in terms of seniority, you
Yeah.
are far too large for
Yeah.
price tag wise as well.
Price tag wise.
So it could be code for them to open up a conversation with you to see how willing you are
Yeah.
to be in the trenches with the rest
Yeah.
of us,
Yeah.
and then maybe
There
we
are.
can we can share the bacon once we've hunted a bit more.
Yeah. And I think it's, to me, it's not, to me, an answer like this could be a no. Sometimes it could be a let's negotiate, let's discuss. Or it could be, they
Yes.
might think it's a no, but it's up for you to discuss. And how you frame that discussion, especially if it's a company that you really like or a job you really want to do,
Yeah.
come talk to us, because we have helped individuals to structure something out, which was a
Yes.
win-win for both sides.
Yes. We
And
have
we can
lots of
get pretty
ideas, and we've
creative.
seen it
Yeah.
done.
And
We've
because
seen it
we've been
done.
doing this in
So
headhunting for the numerous years, it's you'll be surprised how amenable HR can be if you just sit down and structure something out with them. So come talk to us. We can definitely uh, work out options if you really want the job, and they
yeah.
really like you.
Yes. Absolutely.
So that'd
Amen
be
to
fun.
that.
Amen to that,
Yes.
right? And the fourth one we always say is, if you really want to improve your bargaining power in terms of salary, you perform well at the job interview. If you do a fantastic job and you convince them that you are the one, the chosen one for the role, I think your
You can
negotiation power
tell.
goes up a lot. You can tell,
You
right?
can you can tell when they like you. You can tell when you have gone beyond the
Yeah,
very stilted,
yeah,
formal kind of professionalism,
mm,
and you have entered the friendlier zones.
yeah,
You can tell. And during my interview masterclass, I do help our clients look out for those signals.
yeah.
But I think it's understood, isn't it, Adrian? Come on,
No, on the
like
contrary,
it
some people. No, that's why we
really.
cannot.
People
That's
go
why you
into
cannot
interview
stress.
thinking they don't want to perform.
No, 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 no. They perform on par, at par level, not
Right.
not excel. You see, you just go in. But if you over prepare and you do it right, your negotiation power goes up tremendously, and that's why we always say, come and attend Yen's interview masterclass, especially if you are a senior executive who has given more interviews than gone for interviews. It's a lost skill that you may have forgotten. So you need to learn how to present a business case for yourself. Come
Yes.
reach out to us. We'll be able to help you, because
Yeah.
Yen's
That's a
interview
good point.
masterclass
Great.
is 4 hours of pure adrenaline and pure unadulterated great advice. Okay, so just come
Adrenaline,
in,
I don't know.
adrenaline.
But yes, you're right about the performing. When we say perform well at the interview, it's not just about having all of your answers prepared, because we can tell when someone's over prepared and rehearsed. And interviewers don't like rehearsed candidates. We can
Yeah,
tell. And then when we probe a
it's just
little bit more, the answers become
yeah,
less clear and less
yes,
concise. And then we can
yeah,
tell, okay, this person's been coached. And that's not a good sign as well.
mm,
So to perform well at the interview is to give measured, strategic, confident, business related answers. And I think that is a huge focal point, and it requires a little bit more training. You're right.
Yeah. So come talk to us if you want to have a strong salary negotiating position by starting off strong at the interview itself. And one of the things, for me, I personally feel that if you're able to articulate the value you can create very well,
Yeah.
I think that the salary piece is going to be secondary. If I was a salesperson, and if I can generate an additional 5 million worth of revenue, almost
What's
guaranteed, because,
1%?
hey, what's 1%, right? What's an extra $50,000 a year or $100,000 a year?
Commission,
and even to the point where I have an existing set of clients who are coming to me already, and if I join you, I'm bringing them over. Okay, what's to stop you from giving me a $200,000 sign-on bonus? Seriously, right? Because I'm bringing these guys over,
But that's for salespeople. It's different again for different roles. So
so you have to come talk to us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You got to figure out your
show
value
you
proposition.
The magic of Career Agility International.
It's not much magic. It's a lot of common sense.
It's common sense. It's sorcery. But common sense is not common. So that's why, for those of you who just joined us, once again, my name is Adrian, and with me is Yen. We are Career Agility International, and we help individuals like yourself to land more meaningful roles and achieve career success and end up being happier and more focused on the things that matter more in your life. So come talk to us. We're always very happy to have the conversation. So today we're talking about, is it possible to negotiate your salary at the job interview? And the answer is yes. This is how you do it. So far we talked about knowing your value, knowing your worth. We talk about being able to know what the market rates are, and most importantly, what we're talking now is perform well at the interview, and you would have a much stronger position when it comes to salary negotiation.
Yeah.
And the final thing is this: just ask. Just ask.
Yeah.
Be bold to ask what you want to ask. Don't shy.
Don't vacillate. Don't vacillate.
Don't vacillate.
Yeah.
Don't maybe, perhaps. No, just ask. No, what's your expected salary? Seriously, just say, oh, my expected salary is this much.
Yeah,
and I think,
just ask.
And I think to play this card, I think we need to have, as in all negotiations, a baseline from which you will walk away.
Yes.
If you don't have that minimum baseline, you're just gonna accept whatever comes along. No, you don't have bargaining. You do not have the bargaining power. So have that minimally accepted baseline to walk away. As my favorite, as a wise man once said, you got to know when to hold them, know when to fold them, know when to walk away, know when to run. Okay.
That's in reference to poker.
Okay, sorry, that was Kenny Rogers.
With reference to gambling.
But you need to know when to walk away, when to walk away from a deal. I think that's very important, because the day you can't walk away from the deal, you're lost.
You're hostage.
You've lost already. Yeah, you're hostage. You're lost.
So when we were talking about just now, you were saying that negotiations happen during the interview. You are very, very right. In fact, sometimes our clients will come to us and say, oh, I entered the negotiation stage. What do I do now? No. Your negotiations already started at the first interview.
At the first interview.
Because there's this dance that happens, isn't it? First interview, it's like a first date. You show one card, the person shows one card, and then you kind of talk about things and see if there are common interests. And then you have a second date and you get to know each other a little bit better. Then you have a third interview and a fourth interview, by which time you have already set expectations, as you should be doing, because you'll be, demonstrating your strategic mindset. You'd be showing and perhaps, sharing your philosophy on leadership. You'd be sharing your ideas about where the market is going and whether you have a vision. All of that adds to your ultimate bargaining position that we keep talking about. And if they fall in love with you, they'll pay you.
They'll pay you. If they can see the value, they like you, they'll pay you. So in other words, in the infamous words of Jerry Maguire, show me the money. And just looking at Tom Cruise's photo here, he hasn't changed much. He still looks.
He has. I think he has.
Okay,
we are not able to defy gravity, no matter how hard we try.
Not if you're Tom Cruise. So okay.
He's got magic powers.
He's got magic powers. I have no idea what vitamins he takes, but no, it works. So when it comes to salary negotiation, you always have the biggest card you have in your pocket is the ability to walk away from a deal that you don't like. That's what I
Yeah.
always believe. And as long as you know that if it's not what I want, I'll walk away. I think that's
Yeah.
the strongest source of confidence you can have to negotiate.
Yeah.
And of course, the day you can't walk away from a deal is the day you've been captive already.
Yeah, and of course, from my point of view, it's always about having the vocabulary and having the mindset, the frameworks.
Yeah.
I provide a lot of scaffolding to give you that confidence in
Mm-hmm.
helping you to articulate a little bit better, so that
Mm-hmm.
you don't scramble for words.
Mm-hmm.
I think one of our challenges is always like we don't know how to say what we mean. And so if I
Yeah,
can
you don't have the
provide you with some of the
vocabulary for it. Yeah.
vocabulary, if I can
Yeah.
provide you with that, that's half the battle as well. So
Yeah.
yeah,
And for those of
give us a shout if you need
yeah,
help.
especially for those of us who are not used to this particular activity, which is interviewing or negotiating or whatever it is, just come shout to us, talk to us. We can help you with your salary negotiations, whether you are having problems at the workplace, or even just thinking about what I want to do next in my life. Just come talk to us. We are the experts in this, and we are really good at it. And we've been doing it for the past 5 years, coming to 6 years already. Come and think of it. And come November, we'll be 6 years old already.
Gosh, where did the time go?
Where did the time go, right? Wow. Time flies when you're having fun. So, for
All
those of
right.
us
Happy Friday.
who are going to enjoy a nice long weekend because the National Day weekend is up upon us. If you're taking the Monday
Yes.
and Tuesday off, happy long weekend. Next week on our Career Success Show, we're going to have a special edition. We're not going to tell you what it is. It's going to be a fun-filled edition, a National Day edition. Okay, so come join us and it'll be fun. So if you have any other questions, we're always happy to answer. And in the meantime, have a great weekend ahead, guys.
Take care.
Take care. Bye.